We had like 30 Luma people. Maybe send a blast through there too, reminding them. All right, very good. Hello, happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing?
Anniversary.
Okay, Joanne, my Zoom looks weird now. My Zoom must have caught up with the,
Caught up with everybody else.
yeah, like it doesn't even stretch across my screen. Anyway, we're not going to worry about that because today is Tech Tuesday and we're not worried about my tech. We want to talk about your tech. So, I want to start out by saying who was on Tech Tuesday last week on lovable landing pages. Okay, I see a couple hands. I want to see your pages. Did anybody make a page? If you did, drop it in the chat. Drop the link to your page in the chat because I'm in love with that, right? Building a little mini landing page in like 5 minutes was a game changer. So I'm going to grab my one I did for home value, right? So right here, Trident, Vegas, Dream, right here. I don't know why it's called that, but whatever. We're gonna grab that and put that in the chat. You guys saw this last week if you were here. If not, you know, it's kind of cool. Fello does have some landing pages as well, but I love to have like a what's your home really worth, and then like this is how we market properties, and then you know if you want to shop for homes, go here, right? You can like add anything you want to these lovable landing pages in 5 minutes for free. So anyway, I'm gonna click on and check your guys' pages out when Gus gets going here. So drop them in there. No camera, but I am here. Oh, good. Yes, please turn your cameras on. Nobody likes to talk to black boxes. So there's that. And then I just want to talk about Fello for a minute. You know, some of you have heard me talk about Fello. He is my new best friend, right? Basically, he's my old best friend now. we've been BFFs
We've been
for a while.
friends.
And it's funny because I was so focused on luxury, right? And you guys may have heard me talk about, you know, extracting those luxury neighborhoods, name, email, phone number, address into Follow Up Boss, right? So that they can become an audience. So we can have our luxury videos retargeting them, you know, so that worked really good. And then I discovered Fello and brought them into my life because we had 56,000 leads in our database, and it was really hard to touch everybody at the same time or all in 1 month or ever, right? I was always kind of stuck, like, I don't know who to send what because you know, I'm gonna go to Google jail. I've been in every freaking social platform jail you can think of. And yes, Google jail is a thing. I've been there several times, right? So I just kind of stopped and froze, you know, getting emails out to people. And emails are the best thing. Like John Chaplik says, emails are your ATM, right?
Mhm.
So I'm always thinking about that. And I'm like, oh my God, if I'm not getting my emails out, then people aren't, you know, seeing me or connecting with me, and I'm not giving all the information. So anyway, when I met Gus and he told me that, you know, Fello will send an email out to everybody twice a month, right? And basically keep them updated on their home's value once, and then the market report second, right? And I was like everybody, because I don't know for you guys that have HomeBot. HomeBot is amazing, right? I used that tool for a very long time. However, we only had 2,500 people in there, right? And my price kept going up every time we added more people. And so anyway, so I was like, oh, this is a good idea. And then he told me about how Fellow will turn your buyers into sellers. And I'm like, what? We have so many buyers in our database because we run ads on our listings, right? And so when you run ads on your listing, who clicks on them? People wanting to buy, right? Name, email, phone number. And then so we got Fellow in there. They are not only talking to these people, but they're also turning my buyers into sellers because they're like, "What's your home? Do you want to know what your home was worth?" And they're like, "Yeah, here's my address." Boom, right into Follow Up Boss, right? So I love that part, but the best part was all those luxury neighborhoods that I imported into Follow Up Boss. Guess what? They're now raising their hand. I was like, oh my God, 5 million, 7 million, 8 million. Like it's a thing. And so all these luxury neighborhoods are raising about their home's value because Fellow reached out to them, right? And they are opting in at that point, right? So all of them have an opt-in. Guess what? Now I can call them. Now we can call them and convert them because they opted into our stuff. So I love that. And that was a happy accident. And if you are struggling with reaching out to your whole database, you don't have to have 56,000 people. Like, good God, no. But hey, what is the ratio on that, Gus? How many people are
7%. Yeah.
7%. So
Yeah.
do the math. 7% of your database, how many of those will be selling with or without you? So,
hmm
I just absolutely love the program. And Gus is gonna hop on and talk a little bit about number one, what Fellow is, just in case you don't know. And then to some strategies that they've been working on that are working really good because they Ryan and his team do have an amazing team that is crushing the fellow hand raisers. So,
Yeah.
hi guys.
Yeah. Well, cool. Hi, guys. How we doing? Good.
Fabulous.
Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. Show of hands, just whether it's virtual or physical hands, how many of you are currently fellow users? Handful there. Love it. Okay,
Yep.
great. Awesome. I love it. Well, for those of you that don't know Fellow, I'm going to share a little bit just about, kind of who we are and why we exist. And for those of you that aren't Fellow, might be a good refresher, kind of the mission here behind Fellow. And then what I'll do is I'll dive into some of the strategies that, I think that we should really be implementing in our businesses to start creating really high intention hand raisers, just like Wendy's talking about. And then we'll leave it open for questions and whatever else that we can come up with along the way. Sound good?
Sounds
Awesome.
beautiful.
Love it, love it, love it. I'm just gonna request to share there, Wendy, if I could.
Oh, sorry, there you go.
I'm good, no worries. Great. So we kind of hang our hat on this idea that, at the end of the day, real estate is in our DNA. And when I say that, guys, I mean that literally. The reason why I say that is because this platform was built by agents for agents. Our founder and CEO, he owns and operates the Young team out of Cleveland, Ohio, number one large team in Ohio. He's got a team of about 15 agents and they sell about 5 to 600 homes a year. And they're one of the most profitable teams in the country as well. That math doesn't work unless you stop playing the game that everyone else is playing and we start to dive really intentionally into our database. And so reason why I'm telling you guys that is because I want you to know that this is a platform that's built by agents for agents. This isn't just a tech company making assumptions. We're actually in the trenches building and testing all of this with a real producing team, with real agents. And that's what's fueled a lot of our success. And ultimately, guys, what we see across the industry is that, you know, the market has changed. Lead acquisition costs are up. Portals sit between us and our contacts and our closings. And we really see across the board that agents don't have a leads problem. They have a database visibility and a conversion problem. Would any of you guys agree with that? Do you feel that way?
100%. Yep.
Great. Over the years, however long you've been in real estate, whether it's 2 years, 20 years, 50 years, you've probably spent a lot of money, time, sweat equity, whatever it is, in building a database of people that are full of contacts. And I always use this quote, and I want you guys to write this down. Maybe my database isn't dead. Maybe I just stopped understanding who's actually inside of it. Right? What happens when a lead comes into your database? It goes into your CRM. But then what happens with that person? Their life changes. They get married, they get divorced, someone dies. Unfortunately, people move, life changes, but your CRM never updates, right? And so our database starts to feel stale because our contacts are just frozen in time. It's essentially a yearbook. And if we don't have anything in place that's updating that in real time, then we are losing out on opportunities to get in front of that database. And so what Fello does is we avoid the hidden problem of your database just decaying quietly. And without clean data, I don't care how many tools that you can't put the right automations in place without the right data because everything's going to fall flat. It's like going to the doctor and you telling the doctor you have a stomach ache and they give you an ankle brace, right? If we don't understand the people that are in our database, we can't get in front of them with the right message and be intentional, right? And so where Fello comes into play is we are now fixing that broken tech stack and creating what we call the new way of running the business that you already own. If our CRM or our business stops the day that we stop buying leads, we don't own a business, guys. We rent one. And so what we want to do is take those contacts that you already have in that database and start to focus on that and really get intentional about who's in there. If we have someone's name, phone number, and email, we actually really don't know anything about them, right? We don't know anything about where they live. We don't know anything about their homeowner journey, their seller situation, their buyer situation, whatever it is. And so what we do is we continually enrich your database with home ownership, equity, property data, so you can constantly see day after day which contacts are becoming sellers, buyers, and prioritize the deals that are sitting in your database. Because the reality is for most of you, your next deal already lives inside of your database, right? Talk to me right now. I want to hear from you guys a little bit. Like, where are you feeling the squeeze the most when it comes to your database? Are you feeling it in that top of funnel part of getting more leads into my database? I just can't find ways to grow my database. Are you feeling, man, I have leads, but I just can't get them to raise my hand, which I know that this is what this is all about. So that's probably why most of you are here. Or are many of you struggling with a conversion issue? I have leads, but when I pick up the phone, people just don't respond. Talk to me a little bit about where you guys are at, because we have some time here.
I'm not great at the follow-ups, so I guess I could use a little help. And I do have a Fello account. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of people coming in through street text right now, both sellers and buyers. And but I kind of fall down with the, okay, what do I say when I call them? And yeah, that's kind of where I'm stuck. In fact, I just made
Okay.
a list of people who I need to call today because I see them doing stuff, but I'm not sure really how to approach them appropriately.
Sure. Yeah, well, I can help with that, Lauren, for sure. I will show you a little bit here in a second on how we can help with that. For those of you that have Fello, I'm going to jump in now and I'm just going to show you some ideas on how we can create some hand raisers, how we can create some activity within that database. If you haven't done this already, for those of you that aren't on Fello, follow along so you can see just how easy it is, and then call me after this and let's get you set up. With that, I'm going to share this screen here. Can y'all see my screen, the new dashboard here?
No, it's still on the new way. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Better now?
Yep.
Cool. So obviously the first part is to turn this database into a living, breathing database, right? So what Fello does is we essentially attach a drip IV to your database and we diagnose on day one where you're missing information. So we start to fill in gaps. Where are you missing contact information? Where are you missing home address? From a listing standpoint, it's really hard to market to a seller if we don't know where they live. So the first part is to make sure that we get the right data attached to that contact. Once we do that and we attach those, what we're doing is we're then pumping in our own data. And this data is where we start to paint a picture or tell a story of where this homeowner is at. And we do that through different sources where we pull in what's their current interest rate? What's their equity position? How long have they been in the home? What type of loans do they have? Right? How long have they been in the home? Who did they last sell with and when? Or what's their most recent MLS status? Who are the current and previous owner of public record? We have what's called our contact to owner match. And what this does is this verifies that the contact that's living in your database actually lives at this database here. So we have Jessica Van Auken here is our contact. If you guys can see that, says that the contact in our CRM is 1109 Losmar. Jessica Van Auken is the homeowner of public record. Great. Now it's the right address, right? We pull in 3 different automated values coming from 3 main sources, Cotality, Atom, and Quantarium. Cotality is formerly CoreLogic, for those of you that are aware of that. And we show those to the seller through a custom dashboard, which many of you will see here, or if you know what that looks like. We also pull in and show what Zillow says the Zestimate is. This is just agent facing. We don't show this to the seller. We just want you guys to be able to see what most likely they would be comparing these values to here. Okay. So the first step is, again, like I said, contacts that don't have the right data, and then we apply automations to it. It's like putting, gas in a car that doesn't have an engine. So we want to make sure that we're lining the right things up with the right people. And so creating these segments is going to be the first step of really getting intentional about creating hand raisers in your database. Okay, so for example, we create a few key segments or highlight a few key segments that we can show you right out of the gate that are created in your database when you join us, but you can also create your own custom ones. But for example, I can take all the contacts that you have in your database and I can sort by, for example, show me everybody right now that has an interest rate of over 6%, right? Or show me everybody that's been in the home for 20 plus years. Or show me everybody that's currently expired on the MLS, right? Those are ways that we can start to get in front of and see the right people, okay? One of the ways that I would do this, and the first thing that I would do once I get into my Fello account is going to be to start to build my ideal client. So let's just run this in the chat here quickly. Throw in there from think about from terms of equity position, time in home, two-story, one-story, value, etc. Give someone help me build my ideal client that I would want to give a call and say, hey, are you interested in selling your home? Anybody want to volunteer to do that? No? Okay. Well,
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just was thinking to just show you guys how you can go build your ideal client here. So when you're thinking of somebody that you want to get in front of, you might be thinking, okay, someone that's been in the home for 20 plus years, or someone that has X, Y, Z, or whatever factors. So I just was going to ask for those factors just to get a little interactiveness out of the chat here. So Lauren, you can tell me what you got.
I guess I'll volunteer.
Yeah, go for it. I've got you on the line.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so you want to know somebody in my database?
Just an example of a seller, like who's selling real estate right now, right?
People who want to move out of state, or
okay,
people who want to downsize.
Okay, downsize,
upsize.
Great. Yep, downsize is a great
Upsize
option.
a turn.
Yeah, there you go. What would be factors of someone's property and that we would know that would make someone downsize?
How much equity they have in their house.
Okay. What would you say would be a good example of a good amount of equity for them to be a downsizer?
Well, to downsize, I guess if they want to pay cash in my market, depends on where they want to go. I don't know,
Yeah,
400
let's just
grand.
so if they have, what we can do is we can add a filter for estimated equity of greater than 80%.
Okay,
Right, there you go. Carol, there you go. Perfect. 35% equity
thank you.
is greater than 35% equity, has 2 or more stories, and been in the home for more than 10 plus years. I just added all those filters manually here, guys. But what we can do is I can do this same exact thing here. I can go back and remove all of these filters. And for those of you that have Fello, I would really encourage you to look at this Ask AI feature up here in the top right-hand corner. It's essentially Chat GPT, but for your database. Click on Ask AI, click on Find Contacts, and show me contacts that have 35% or greater equity and have been in the home for more than 10 years and have a 2-story home. Now, what Fello will do is populate this segment. So for example, right, for many of you are thinking, I don't necessarily know where to start. This database that I'm showing you here as an example is 41,000 contacts. We take that 41,000 down to 758. So think about that on the scale of like where we can go with that. We can even go even further, right? And let's just say, oh, I actually want to focus on this city. And I actually really only want it to be in Cedar Falls. And I actually want it to be, something else. Now we have 20 contacts within here that we can look at and say, hey, I've got a buyer that's really motivated in your area. I'm curious what you thought. If we look at Brian Gilbert here, Brian has submitted a home value lead. He's submitted 4 form submissions. He's opened emails 33 times. Brian's a really great person for us to call because he's active with us. He's engaging with that. We can say, hey, Brian, just curious what you thought about that home value. I've got some buyers that are motivated. If you were to see a number that made financial sense, would you be open to looking at an offer, right? Now, to your question earlier, Lauren, and I'm going to bring this back. When you're looking at these and you're creating these segments, you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's great, but I guess I don't necessarily know what to say. We help you with that as well. Click on Brian, go to Ask AI and say, generate a call script for Brian. Fello will then generate a call script that's customized to Brian based on the data that we know about him, about his equity position, how long he's interacted with us, etc., so that we can start to create a framework for ourselves to get some of these people towards the bottom of that funnel there. Right?
This is awesome.
I saw someone raise their hand.
Carol was raising her hand.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry. I'm curious, when you selected your filters or you brought it down to Cedar Falls and then you had your list of people, does Fello sort by activity? So your highest activity contacts are at the top?
Yep. So that's the default when we create a segment, is this highest activity is going to be first or last form submission date. But you can also go in and sort by whatever different factor that you want. So if you want to take these filters that you're creating here and then you want to sort it by, highest equity above 35% or whatever it is, you can adjust that there as well.
Or highest lead score.
Highest lead score. Yep. Exactly. Now, I want to dive into some segments as well, and then I'll do a few other Handraiser ideas here. Where Fello comes into play is our goal is to start creating and monitoring this database and turning it into, like I said, that living database. And one of the ways that once we pump this data in is we're working constantly to monitor and identify where these people are at in their seller journey, right? And one of the best ways that I've seen this operate, and if you don't have this created in your Fello account, if you don't have a way to see this type of activity in your database, whether it's Fello or not, you need one. This is so important. Like I mentioned, and I want you to think about this on scale. Even if you have 2,000 contacts, guys, you would be shocked at how many opportunities surface when you start to create segments like this. But even with this database right now, this is 41,000 contacts. I'm showing you every single person in this database right now that is currently active, coming soon, pending, new, or under contract. There's 418 people that are active on the market right now in this database, right? Of that 418, how many of those aren't active with me? There's 354 contacts in this database alone that aren't active on the MLS with this team that I've pulled up right now. Now you might be thinking, well, Gus, this is pretty reactive. Now what? They're already on the market. What am I supposed to do? Well, that's the best part about having a living, breathing database. This is someone who's already opted into you at one point. Let's look at Dustin, for example. Dustin just went active on the MLS. If Dustin moves to expired, terminated, canceled, withdrawn status and moves into your expired seller segment, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get a notification and you're going to be able to pick up the phone and call Dustin, right? What if you could get a notification every time someone in your database went expired on the market, right? How powerful could that be for you to get some of that lower hanging fruit?
And when you can actually have the emails tailored specifically for expireds, right, guys? You can you can turn those on that way. If they expire, the verbiage is going to be in there, like, that your home didn't sell.
Exactly. And the campaigns that we have running that are on, kind of on autopilot are matching these segments of where they're at, right? We're of course going to send out home value. That's what I like to call our more evergreen campaign, because that's going to be relevant to everybody, no matter where they're at in the funnel, whether they're ready to sell next week or next year. They kind of probably want to know about where they're at. So that's a good one to have running all the time. But from a dynamic standpoint, you don't have to worry about turning these on manually. As someone enters into expired MLS status, they'll start automatically getting emails from the Fello expired listing campaign, so that when you pick up the phone, Lauren, and you're like, I don't know what to say, now you do, because you can say, hey, I just saw you got that email. What'd you think about that?
Gus, would you mind going through what those filters were real quick?
The ones that we just picked, just went through? Yeah, for sure. So
sorry, I'm
Carol,
muted, Fello.
Oh, you're good. No worries. Yeah. So the filters are ways that you can go in and create segments. So up here in the top left-hand corner, you want to click all contacts. The one that we did was just an example that Carol had put in the chat, which was we're going to do 35% or greater equity. So then you can say contacts with 35%.
Oh, no, I meant for the expired ones that you just did.
Oh, yes. Sorry. My bad. Yeah, so you're going to want to go to and say latest MLS status, most recent MLS status is any of, active, coming soon, pending, new, under contract.
Okay.
And then property intelligence, listings is any of, not my deals.
Okay.
Meaning that none of these contacts are listed currently with me. You can feel free to take a screenshot of this filter right here if you'd like to, Laura.
I got it. Thanks.
Awesome. Now, with that, again, feel free, obviously, guys, to go in here and attach and add more filters. Play around with it. See what that looks like. What happens is when you create a filter, I'm just going to create a segment here, maybe for luxury, where I'm going to say property value is greater than $1 million. And let's just see if there's any expireds on there. Likely is. There we go. 17 contacts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say clone segment. 1 million plus, expired. Clone that. This will now be saved here on the left-hand side. Okay.
Isn't that cool? We have the same one. We have everything with a score of 80 plus and everybody that owns a million plus. So that way you can just kind of go in there and it filters based on activity, and those are the people you can reach out to. Who was it here? Blanca. She asked, I see some lead score or engagement score are quite high. Should you reach out to those and send CMAs? I actually don't send the CMA, especially if they're luxury, because I want to talk to them about it when I get to the house, right? You never want to send value, even though this sends value. But I have a Canva template I put in the chat. It's a Fello Canva template, and we send that with our soft touch marketing plan. So, that is a good reach out, and then you can make a call and be like, I just want to make sure you receive my, marketing plan that I sent over to you. I see, that you have some good equity in your home, and are you looking to sell soon or just curious about your home's value? I mean, don't say that I see you in your portal 5 times a day.
Totally. So Blanca, I think this would be a good time to just kind of explain a little bit about what that lead score means. And the answer is that this is different for everybody, but we're very transparent about what goes into that. You see a lot of different tools out there that are like, we're going to show you who's ready to sell their house. We're going to show you this propensity to sell, et cetera. But a lot of times it's really arbitrary consumer behavior data that is just baked into that. Like Wendy just went and bought a can of paint at Home Depot, so she's ready to sell her house, right? That doesn't really necessarily mean anything. But what's going into this lead score is different for every person. And so I really want to show you guys why it's so important to get in and identify this. So let's look at Sarah Rice, for example, here. Sarah came in, she's submitted 3 different forms. She's opened 12 different emails. She's got a lead score of 94. What's going on with Sarah? What Fello's going to do is we're now going to take this entire contact, what we know about her behavior, how often she's interacted, but also pair that with her data and what is going, like what macroeconomic trends are going on, or what type of people are selling their homes. And we're baking that in. So what we know now because of this is we're showing you that she's multiple times clicked and opened emails. She's submitted multiple forms. She has a recently expired listing. Those are what's driving this factor. Those are what factor driving this lead score up. But what's driving this lead score down is that she has a low equity. So we know that that's going to be part of the conversation that's going to come up when we pick up the phone and call Sarah, right? So what Fello can do is then take this Ask AI feature, just like I had shown to Lauren here earlier, is you can generate this call script, but you can also simulate objections that that are going to come up, and we'll give you ways to combat those objections. So we know that she has an interest rate of 5.23 and she has low equity. I'm going to simulate contact objections for a higher interest rate and low equity. What Fello will do is then take all of the data and the scripting that we have that's built into the Fello platform, and we'll give you ways. For example, my interest rate is too high. Completely get that, Sarah. Usually when you hear that becomes a financial question. What sales price would make sense for you to leave your current mortgage? If I could show you options where you could walk away with more in your pocket, even with a higher rate, would you be open to a conversation? Right? There's ways that we can start to navigate these conversations and really start to move some of these hand raisers towards the bottom of the funnel. Any questions on the segmentation ability, guys? Does everyone kind of understand how important it is to start to get these, our ducks in a row here? If we're trying to fly to New York, but our car's pointed towards San Diego, we're not going to get to the right place, right? So talk to me. I saw Laura, I saw you raise your hand there.
So not the expired segment, but the one before where we I think it was a missed opportunity that you did with the filters. Wouldn't that be an opportunity also to approach them about buying? Because listing agents aren't always their buyer's agent.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So Fello also has an automation from like an email standpoint where if someone goes active on the MLS, we can actually send them an email where it says, hey, just so you went active in the MLS, do you need to get pre-approved for your next property purchase?
All right.
It's a good way to interact with that. So once we've got the segments created, guys, now what I want to do is I want to kind of take you through, how much time do we have here? About 20 minutes?
Yeah, we're 20.
Cool. I want to take you through ways to start to create some hand raisers out of these different segments and ways that we can do that as it sits today. Obviously, the emails that we send out are going to be these pre-created emails that we have that are all pre-built and automated. You don't have to worry about, what to send and how to send it. But we also want to get a little bit creative here. And so I'm going to show you some of the ways that I've seen teams and agents do a really great job with this. One of the ways that I see them do this is by leveraging some different things that are going on within this market. So the team that I'm showing you here is a team that I used to be the director of operations of in Iowa. So I'm going to use that market for example. If there's anybody in Iowa here, say hey. But one of the ways that I'm going to do this is not only do we have obviously the pre-created templates that I'm showing you here, we also have customizable content. So I want to create a topic around a current event that's happening within your market. I'm going to use the home value template because I want to drive them to that dashboard to raise their hand for home value. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to use this email template and I'm going to say current event test. You can adjust subject lines, copy, button placements, etc. But first thing that I want to do here is I'm going to go into ChatGPT and I'm going to say, what big industry changes are happening in the Waterloo, Cedar Falls real estate market that would affect job changes or home values, real estate, or both? We're going to let ChatGPT come up with things here. There's a big John Deere plant that's in Waterloo, Cedar Falls. So I'm guessing that it's going to come up with something like that. There might be a few other things. But does everybody get kind of the concept that I'm going with here? The way that this idea was born was I have a team in Scottsdale that came up with an idea. There was a new Tesla plant that was being built north of Scottsdale. They came up with an email template here that says, how does the new Tesla plant affect your home's value at 123 Main Street? It had an insane amount of engagement, right? And now you have people raising their hands saying, I'm curious to why, I'm curious to why. And now you have an excuse to reach out to these people because you get to say, hey, guess what? I actually work with a client that's moving to the area for the new Tesla plant, and they're interested in a home that looks just like yours. If you saw a number that made financial sense, would you be open to a conversation, right? Right now here, look at John Deere's continued layoffs tied to weaker demand, including 71 layoffs in the Waterloo Foundry. Great, perfect example. Sierra Home Estimate, I'm going to say, how have recent John Deere Foundry layoffs affected your home's value? And I can actually go in here and write it with AI. If you're not quite sure what to say or if that sounds right, you can actually just rewrite it there for the heading. Are John Deere Foundry layoffs shaping your home's value? Let's go up to the subject.
That's cool.
And say, John Deere layoffs. Is your home's value affected? And what I would say is I would take is your home and personalize it by putting in street address. Is 123 Main Street affected? and use that as the subject line, right? Same thing goes in here, take this here. John Deere continued layoffs tied to weekly demand, in August of 2025, blah, 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 whatever it is. However that looks for you guys, find out how it has affected your home's value here. And then you can change this to like learn more or see more or whatever it is. And now publish this template and send this out to people that you really actually want to work with. So because that segment, now what you can do is we can say, hey, I'm going to save this as a draft. Great. Now what I want to do is I actually only really care to send this to clients that I want to work with. So I'm going to take my filters and I'm going to create a segment that says Cedar Falls. Oops. And property is over 400,000. Great. Now there's 1,282 people here that I can send this out to, and I can monitor, and I can save this clone as my John Deere, whatever it is, right?
So when you're okay, so what did you take from the chat GPT and put it? Sorry, you just kind of lost me there. So
you're good. So it just says not
you just
one,
took one paragraph?
Yeah, this is basically says manufacturing job volatility is the biggest risk to home values in Waterloo, right? Great.
Okay.
And it said John Deere continued layoffs tied to weaker demand. So I basically just said John Deere's continued layoffs, XYZ. There's many different things here that you can pull from. You and I rolled out in-state tuition pricing, things like that that could affect. I mean, y'all know your market better than anybody. So how do your people speak? What do they care about? What do they want to know about? When you go to the coffee shop and someone asks you about the real estate market, what type of things do they bring up to you? Ask that and create those segments around this to get in front of them.
Okay. Yeah, because mine came up like you had like specific things, and when I threw that into my chat, it was
sorry. I just said what big industry changes are happening that would
I did that.
job. Okay.
I did that, and mine came up with like the market is rebalancing, power shift from sellers, buyers. After years of aggressive appreciation, Las Vegas is normalizing. Inventory is up 20. I mean, it just gives stats. It doesn't like
Yeah. So we can even just go and we can even just kind of analyze that a little bit further. Like we could just say like any new companies moving in or out of Las Vegas that would affect home values or residencies, and then maybe go that route, right? Like you kind of see the angle that I'm trying to go here, right? Like, look at, there's a new, Amazon HQ2 or, Dealer Tire, Carson Manufacturing, etc. New Google Fiber rollout, right? That could be huge. Oakland A's relocation, pending stadium, etc. So all of those type of things can really.
That is so cool. So you can just, so when you go and create that email, will that be the new email going out to everybody, or you manually do that?
So you would manually do that to just whoever you would want. So that's like where you can go kind of create and send out your own custom email. I will say that we are rolling out a full email builder. I know that this one you kind of saw, like we can go in and we can adjust, the subject lines and the copy and, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We are rolling out in 2 weeks a full email builder that is going to essentially rival a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. How many of you pay for a MailChimp or a Constant Contact in here?
I used to, but I've been 86th out of every email platform.
Got it. If you pay for a MailChimp, Constant Contact, Flowdesk, anything like that, Fello will be able to replace it at no additional cost to the platform. with the data that we give you that you can leverage to personalize every email. So that is a way that we can get intentional as well. So if you have, recruiting emails, or if you want to do events or whatever it is, I'll just bring you into our founder Ryan's account right now so you can see what that email builder looks like.
Yeah, Marcia, basically what he's saying, if you pay for an email service, you're going to be able to save money and just do it through here. Because
Correct.
yeah,
Yep.
most people, like even Follow Up Boss, they say you can email, I don't know, 5,000-10,000 people at the same time, but like, I don't know, our deliverability is getting worse. So I would
So Cynthia,
use something else.
In place of Follow Up Boss, not necessarily. I mean, obviously, if you're sending out mass emails, Fello's platform, the way that we have our infrastructure set up is that we create our own custom servers for your database, but brand everything to you so it looks like it's coming from you. So that way, when someone unsubscribes, marks as spam, we're shouldering that and your domain doesn't get affected and your deliverability and your domain reputation doesn't get affected. So when we do it that way, it helps. And so you're going to be able to leverage now a full email sending platform with that infrastructure as well as all of the data. Ryan just did this awesome new template where he basically said it was a buyer need email. And I'll just recreate it here so I can say, so for example, I can do, so when you're sending a buyer need email is a great way to send out and create engagement for your database, right? Because you have, a way to generate a listing opportunity, because you can say, hey, I have a buyer that's interested in your neighborhood, or that's interested in literally your house, right? They're interested and motivated. But you have to go manually do the research to find out who owns what home and select which person to send which email to, and whatever it is. And so what we did is we can now say buyer need in personalize city, buyer need in Henderson, right? And then I can remove this and create an image that says a home in Henderson, Nevada with a value of $1 million plus, and have the neighbors walking in front and smiling at it, and make it at sunset.
Oh, AI.
We can then create an image that basically has that. And now what I can do is I can send an email to
Oh my gosh, that is so cute.
not just everybody in Henderson, but everybody in anywhere in my database. Because I can say, hi, contact, a new property near your address.
Yes. So it will be buyer need in Las Vegas if they live in Las Vegas or Henderson or Boulder City, because it's auto populating. Okay, I love that. That's cool.
Yep. And then you can say something like, they're looking for a insert bed number of beds,
Pool.
number of baths. Yep, exactly. And are motivated whatever it might be. And then you can send this to their contact dashboard, to a URL, to wherever you want it to go. And you can send this out, and each email will be completely personalized to that particular. So now what I can do is I can say, because I'm in Ryan's database, right? And so I can preview this and I can send this to me. Sent the test email. Buyer need in Waterloo. Hey Gus, a new property near 114 Lombard Street just came on the market this month, especially actively exploring options across Waterloo. They're looking for a 3-1 bed motivated to sell. So now, great, we have an email that's completely customized to each individual contacts.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
I have a question. So, but then underneath it says listing snapshot. Does that always go along with it, or is
This
that?
is just it's just a fully like customizable template.
Right,
So
you
this
can
was just a,
customize the bottom part with pictures.
yeah, I was customizing a template from like a just listed template. So what this
Oh,
would be
okay.
the template was like, oh, hey, a new listing I just got popped up, and then you would put in the photos here, whatever, right? So
Mhm. And you can send this to more than one person at a time.
correct. Yep.
So if you've got 10 people in the same farm area that might have a matching house, you can, okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yep. And
That's really nice.
the goal here wouldn't even necessarily be to send it to the same farm area. It would be to send it to your whole database, because there's probably people, you know what I mean? Because each person's going to get their
Yeah.
own individual email for their house or for their
Right.
property. So,
Right.
Carol,
Well,
you
I'm
had
just meaning unless they wanted to live in a specific subdivision, that's all I'm saying. But yes,
right.
okay,
Yeah,
I
of
get
course.
it.
Yep.
I get
Yeah,
it.
but
Yeah,
how
got
great
it.
would it be to generate a listing opportunity in a subdivision that you might not even have a buyer need
True.
for? The reality of it
I
is
like that
you
better.
probably have a buyer for something everywhere.
That is true.
Right. So
Carol?
Yeah.
So Gus, you touched on how Fello is helping protect our domain's email health.
Mhm.
Can you expand on that? Because I don't
yeah,
know, you kind of grazed on it, and I don't know if everybody, because I didn't hear all of it, but how exactly is Fello doing that? And it's really important for our domain's email to be
Mhm.
healthy.
Yeah, for sure. So we don't even use your domain. We create our own domain and then we put a mask on top of it.
Yeah, it doesn't go out from my regular email.
So essentially every email comes from, and that's part of why you just as a software company, part of what you pay for is us going and taking and creating servers for you, essentially. So it literally is creating servers for your database. And then we use what's called a subdomain mask without getting too much into the weeds, where basically it says info.wendygoss.engage.com. And then you have a custom, and everything that's going out is all branded with your logo and your name and your face and your colors, but it's all coming from the Fello infrastructure. And so if you were to send out, like, how many contacts do you have in your database, Carol?
Oh, I don't have that many.
But even, okay, let's just say you were even send out 5,000 emails tomorrow. That wouldn't be good for
Sure.
anybody. So the way that we take our database and the way that we split it up is we split your database into 30ths, essentially, into different servers. So that way, when we send out the emails, each person gets a different email and a different day at a different time. We're protecting your domain integrity, but everything's coming from the same umbrella of our email deliverability. We send a little over 150 million emails a month. So we're always getting the reputation and building that with the different, domain providers and email deliverability. I mean, I can dive into it a little bit more without getting too much into the weeds, but just know we don't use your domain. We're basically just using your name and face and logo and colors. And then we create our own infrastructure for it.
All
Cool.
right. Love it. I love that email stuff too. Question, if one of my team members, can they do an email template, and can they see the people in our pond? I think they can see the people that leads in our pond.
Yeah, if this
in Fello, right?
Yeah, if the segment is public to the account.
Yeah,
Yep. You can create private segments to each user, but yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right, and it'll go out as them, correct?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
Awesome.
We'll wait 5 more minutes here. I'll throw up my QR code here for those of you that aren't on the Fello platform yet. You can scan that, and then I'm available for any other questions if anybody has anything.
Okay, I love it, and thank you for like diving into the, how to do
Of
things.
course.
Especially the AI stuff. I know that we have an AI person that can be calling our leads soon. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I sure can. So we are rolling out, what's coming soon is our conversational AI, which is going to be AI call, text, email. It is actually in beta with our founder Ryan's team right now. I think he's set like 11 listing appointments for Ryan without his team having to
Is he
even
using the
listen
guy
to
or
him.
the girl?
He's using the guy. He named him Winston. It's his son's name. So it's really cool. It's really robust, and it has all of the data that I showed you guys attached to it as well. So when someone says something like, well, how many homes have you guys sold in this neighborhood? Felix will be able to answer that question. Without, typical AI, conversational AI would be like, just kind of dance around that question.
Right, because they know everything in your database. They know all the numbers, all the stats, everything. So like they're uber smart about the conversations they're having. So I'm super excited. When is that rolling out?
We're thinking Q2. Don't quote me on that. But we like I said, we have it
Like next
in
week.
beta.
Okay.
Probably later in Q2, I would say. But yes, I do want to share, and I can share this if we have a couple minutes. We have 3 minutes. Hopefully I can get this to pull up.
Yeah, we do. We do. So yeah, Gus's
I'm
link
just
is in
gonna
the
share.
chat too, in case you need that.
Here's an example of Felix.
Find market. Does Fello find markets with the factors you're looking for, like 500 homes in a radius that have 35% equity, longer than 3 years, or whatever my filter is?
Here's
Get that
Wendy, really quickly, if you want to listen to this, here's a snippet of a call with someone that Felix is now talking to, or Winston, I guess I should say, out of his database. You guys would like to hear this?
Don't hear me.
Uh-oh. Did you share sound before sharing screen?
I don't know, did I?
We're not hearing anything.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So Linda, yes, put that, whatever you just put in there, into your AI and Fello, and it'll generate a list of those people for you. Like, that's how cool it is. When you're thinking, I want to talk to these people, da 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 da, put it in there, it'll filter it out, and it'll give you your list.
I can put it in for my address. Like that, you know how you market 500 like homes radius around where you're living?
Right. But you're marketing to people in your database. So do you have those people in your database? If not, get them in your database, right? And then you can market to them.
Okay, that's what I was asking, because there's another service that I can give them those filters, and then they'll pull names. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that's why we used Mojo. We pulled out the neighborhoods, the luxury neighborhoods, name, email, phone number, address, pulled them right in. So once you do that, guess what? Now you have your little farms.
And then you go to Fello. Okay.
Yeah, and then you use Fello. Okay.
But can you hear it now?
That's actually really helpful to know.
Yes.
So you've got some flexibility on the timeline there. And I totally get not wanting to move twice. That's got to be stressful.
Well,
So,
right,
like-
and look, if somebody wanted to make sure they were going to get the deal or whatever, I wouldn't be opposed to selling the house and then actually paying rent back to the seller. Like, so if they wanted to close by like April, they say, "Well, you pay us rent for a couple of months." I mean, that could be done too, But initially, I was going to try to sell it on my On my own, and for a house that cost, and I don't know, now being that you might have your own buyers, this would not be a co-broke deal. So how would you be dealing with a commission then?
Oh, that's actually a really smart approach. The rent back option gives you way more flexibility on timing. And yeah, I get the commission question. Honestly, I don't have the exact details on how that would work in this specific situation. I mean, like every deal is a little different depending on the structure and what the buyer's bringing to the table. But that's definitely something our team could walk you through. They'd be able to lay out all the options and show you what makes the most sense financially. So, would you be open to a quick call with one of our experts to dig into the numbers and see what's actually possible? No pressure, just so you've got all the info before you decide on going it alone.
And I got to ask this question. It certainly seems like I'm talking to a real person, but just something about this makes me think it might be an AI call. Am I talking to a real person right now?
Oh, you caught me. Yeah, I'm actually a digital assistant with the young team, so you're talking to an AI, but a real friendly one. I'm here to help get the conversation started and gather some info, and then I can connect you with one of our actual human experts who can dive into all the details with you. Does that work for you, or would you prefer I just have a real person call you back directly?
A real person could call me, but this is one of the most sophisticated AIs I was ever talking to. I thought for a while I was talking to a real person, but someone can call.
So that's just a little taste of what we're working on. That was probably 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. So it's evolved and it's continually learning, and it's becoming really robust. So we're really excited to roll that out and be able to help bring more of those leads bottom of funnel. We just turned on live transfers for Ryan's team yesterday. So before it was like setting appointments and teeing it up into his follow-up boss. And then today, now we're teeing up final, they're doing live transfers. So if Felix or Winston has somebody on the phone and they're ready to talk to an agent, it'll send it right to their phone. So
That's so cool. All
exciting
right.
stuff.
Sorry, we are late
Well, cool.
for VIP.
Yeah.
Guys,
Appreciate
thank
y'all.
you so much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Happy Tuesday. We'll chat
All
soon.
right.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good day, guys.
Yep. Bye.